goes? We're all good. And we're live with Mr. Jeff Osborne. How are you, sir?
Well, good, Joe. Nice to be talking to you.
Awesome. So you head up the automotive part for Gumtree. Am I correct?
Yes, so I'm part of the automotive side of Gumtree. That's indeed correct. Yeah. And Gumtree, of course, is a horizontal. It's the biggest classified site in South Africa, and autos is just one of their categories, but it's by far the biggest one. So we've changed it. I've been with them now 7 years, and we've created within Gumtree a dedicated autos focused platform for users. So we have a presence of private sellers, a mix of private sellers and indeed dealers. So we've huge consumer choice there.
And a lot of people don't know, but you guys are connected directly with eBay, aren't you? Or part of eBay?
That's correct. We're owned by eBay. We're part of what they call the eBay classified group, because eBay, as I'm sure you know, is an e-commerce site. So that's where you'd order something and you pay online and it gets delivered, as you had earlier today. But Gumtree is a classified advertising site. So long gone are the days of printed published ads. It's now online published ads, and that's what we do. So eBay owns a standalone company called eBay Classified Group, which is a global company, and that, for where we go to Australia, the biggest by far of the eBay Classified Group companies is in Germany. It's called Mobile. Arguably the largest autos classified site in Europe. Then we've got Bilbao in Belgium. So yeah, we indeed are owned by eBay, but part of eBay Classified.
What is your background?
Prior to joining Gumtree, which was 7 years ago, I was for 14 years with the RMI. That's the national body in South Africa representing the automotive industry, stands for Retail Motor Industry Organization. Again, has 14 different sectors covering all sectors and spectrums of the retail side of the motor industry. For example, you've got guys with the panel beaters, you've body shops, as they call themselves, the parts outlets, the tire fitment centers, and so on. So I was CEO of that for my sins over, as I say, 14 years. For what it's worth, I actually pioneered in 1984. I had the very first convenience store in South Africa. At a time when everyone told me it would never work, because they said, well, why should people get out their car to go inside the garage to buy a loaf of bread when they don't have to? The South African system, they just pay you from the driver's seat. In any event, they couldn't have been more wrong about that one. So technical background, but being a petrol head all my life, my dad always repaired and serviced his own cars, and unlike my brothers, I love helping him. But I've had this passion for cars all my life. I still have my original collection of dinkies in that cabinet behind there. I've got about corgis and dinkies. I've got about 300 old model cars. And I collect and rebuild classic cars as well. And I have a few motorcycles, so very much a petrol head.
You seeing how consumers are buying. I mean, you guys are, but I mean, you're not just seeing new car sales. You guys are seeing everything: car parts, old cars, new cars, everything. And how has it been changing over the last few months with the virus? I mean, obviously, no one's buying cars because no one can go connect them.
Look, certainly things have changed, and they were ready. And there's been a global trend where carbon with new cars, entry-level vehicles. And let's be frank, the modern entry-level vehicle of today has all the bells and whistles of the bigger cars, and they're more affordable, they're highly reliable, they last for a long time. So there's been this buying down trend, and in South Africa, it's become even more pronounced over the last month or so. Not only buying down of new cars, but also a shift towards pre-owned. They've been going down. The car sales are down, and they have been declining steadily for the last few years. It's not a good thing, because the ratio in the old days, and I'm going back years ago, in South Africa, was 1-to-1. So for every one car, then again was driven by pricing. It changed to about 3-to-1, where you were setting 3 pre-owned to 1. the moment is sitting at about 2.2, having gone down to 1.8. So there is a slow move towards the pipeline, pre-owned pipeline starts to dry up, and it's supplied by new car sales. Then you start to get a shortage of good pre-owned as well, which is pretty much the position we're in right now.
On the classic car section, do you guys see a lot more on movement and stuff there at the moment as well, or has that slowed down dramatically as well?
Well, we do have a classic car section, and at any given point in time, we have about 1,000 vehicles there. And it's always active. We see cars coming and going from the site. We don't know, of course, when the vehicle has been sold. We publish the vehicle for advertising purposes. And the seller would take it down or leave it up. But the number of listings generally in the autos has gone up slightly. And I think that could be related to the fact that people are finding themselves in financial difficulty, can't meet their commitments and so on. And there is a move towards liquidating assets, be it cars or other assets.
Now, look, I mean, if your business is struggling, the easiest or the fastest thing to move is a car, So I think at the moment we're going to be sitting where it's a buyer's market. You're going to be able to pick, if you've got the capital, you're going to be able to pick up some very good cars at a very cheap price.
I think that's partly true, but then, as I was saying, where some of the high demand pre-owned stock is concerned, there's a bit of a shortage, and that could result in some of the prices going up on pre-owned stock. But I think you're right. Certainly, where the general pre-owned market is concerned, there are some bargains out there, but the sellers have become a lot more astute because there's real-time guidance and advice based on, if you're listing a car or indeed you're looking for a car, you can go into the site where we've aggregated all the cars that fit the description of what you're looking for, and we can tell you pretty much what that car should be fetching,
Really?
It's a good point you make because, the modern buyer today is a lot more savvy than what they were years ago. They do all their research online. They find out what the vehicle is worth. They do performance record, financing, and so on. So, by the time they make that buying decision, they've done pretty much 90% of it online, and they know everything they used to know about that vehicle. They become very savvy, the modern vehicle buyer.
Yeah, we said even in the car market that the days of finding gems for extremely cheap because people don't know what their values are gone. Everyone's watching the TV shows and seeing what's going in. They're actually seeing the prices that cars are going for. Unfortunately, you've got a lot of guys that then think a car immediately has the same value. We always joke that those first 2 weeks after Barrett Jackson's and stuff in the US, everybody wants 3 times the prices of their cars because they see what the ones are going for on auction.
Yeah, that's also very true. But I suppose where private sellers are concerned, they more often than not they need to get out of that car because they have to settle with the bank. So for them, the minimum, all too often, I'm afraid, they're in a position where they, in fact, have negative equity on their hands, where they owe and are often sadly disappointed.
From Gumtree's perspective, what are they doing in the market? I mean, to try and push. How do you guys push everything from your side, if I want to put it that way?
Well, it's all key to creating awareness of anything that you're selling is visibility. And, we belong to huge, as you were saying early on, global online e-commerce organization where they've had a lot of experience and have the right expertise on board when it comes to creating visibility, driving an audience, driving the traffic, and driving eyes onto the site. Things like editing techniques, that is, you place your ad with us, and our speciality is to bring as many eyes to see your ad as possible. And all the time, we're continually innovating and looking at ways and means of improving growing the activity on our site of clicks to view and clicks to reveal and leads on cars.
So, but that brings me to another section. Sorry about that. So in our market now at the moment, so coronavirus, everybody's had lockdown. The US has had a huge push through eBay when it comes to part, not just car selling, but part selling. So you've got a lot of part guys that are actually manufacturing and stuff that push their parts through eBay more than running them through independent online social media platforms and that type of stuff. Do you guys see that in South Africa? Are you seeing more guys utilizing you as a platform, Gumtree as a platform, to sell online more than trying to set up their own e-commerce systems and stuff?
I think it's a combination. And you're right. I mean, in the USA, for example, where eBay is very big and very strong, e-commerce or online trading is huge. So you order it online, you pay for it, and it's delivered and so on. We remind that Gumtree in any event is not an e-commerce site. We're purely classified advertising. We do indeed have a auto parts section, where again we have private and trade sellers advertising their part. But predominantly that's an advert, so they would still expect you to go into the store to go and pick it up or to pay for it. But there's unquestionably a growing trend towards ordering it online and having it delivered. There are courier companies, and if you go into the websites of many of these suppliers, they have a facility where you can order it from them and they'll have it delivered to you.
I mean, that was one of the things why I wanted to talk to you, is the fact that, I mean, you guys have that structure. If there's a guy that is pushing product, I mean, as much as he's setting up his own e-commerce system and he's trying to get stuff out, I mean, Gumtree is there. He can push up. I mean, it's a way to get your product in front of them. It's not a full e-commerce system. It is still done on a trader base and that type of stuff. But at least the infrastructure is there to get his product still in front of people. You know, you're not just relying on feet coming in through a door, if I want to put it that way.
Exactly. So, you know, we refer to, especially on the auto side, we refer to ourselves as having a virtual showroom. And by the way, I didn't mention that we have 1.6 million unique visitors into autos every month in South Africa.
Wow.
In real terms, 1.6 million people every month going to Gumtree, unique visitors, going to Gumtree looking for a car. Phenomenal, as you say. So we are, if you like, a virtual showroom. We showcase the this as well, all, you know, big and small. Private sellers, we allow 2 free adverts at any given point in time. But then for a dealer, you pay for a pack. But, you know, as I said to you, the whole process is one of creating visibility and driving traffic, attracting viewers. And our classic car section we introduced about 3 years ago, so it is sort of relatively new. But if you go into our sites, and I personally think it's very intuitive and user-friendly and well designed, and you go into autos, you can see on the drop-down what the categories are and what the, particularly if you have a car enthusiast coming onto our site, I think they're quickly going to see that, you know, there's a classic car section with over 1,000. And, you know, I do it myself. I go online at night and I just, metaphorically, if you like, tire kick online just to see what's out there. You know?
You go sit and look at, see if there are cars are available that you can't afford. I think every petrol head in the world does that constantly. Where you say, "Oh, look, if I sell my 2 kids and my wife, I can afford a new Chevelle. It would be awesome." Yeah. Will my life be easier that way?
Or I see cars that I've owned before, and I say, "Damn, I should have kept that car. Look what it's worth now." You know.
I know that's the depressing side. The depressing side of it. Look, I love what Gumtree does. It's become a part of such a big part of South Africa, and especially on the car circuit. Going forward, what do you guys still have on the cards coming for 2020 and moving forward?
Well, we are continually improving the usability of the site. The saying in our industry goes that the user is 4 seconds away from clicking out of your site. They're 4 clicks away from leaving you.
Mm.
And that's very true. And I think you probably found that yourself. If you go into any site, and we are continually looking how we can improve the experience for both buyers and sellers. I think our users can look forward to, and deal with right now, is use of video for not just autos, but for other products as well. So if you're selling a bicycle or a lawnmower, you can take a video with your smartphone.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
360 walk around. We're actually running live tests on that as we speak. And that we also see very much as the future. Innovating all the time. We have a big product team backing us up in San Francisco. We've got companies around the world or using cutting edge technology. So, we're in the fortunate position where we can keep ahead of our game, and because you have to. Competitive industry, and the consumer is increasingly more and more demanding.
Just something, sorry, I remembered. I was having a chat with some of the guys in the US the other day, and we were talking about the car builder before lockdown and the car builders we see now. The US has this push where they think that over the next 2 or 3 years, because there's going to be a lot of retrenchments and there's a lot of companies struggling and to try and recover after these few months. That the car building side will never go down. I mean, people will always build cars. People always modify cars. It's just the way it's been. It's the way it will always go, and people always restore classic cars. But they think from a building perspective, the focus is going to be a lot on secondhand parts, as in find out who's got something lying around instead of just checkbook building, ordering stuff from overseas. Why do you think? Do you think that change might actually happen, or that would be a push, or how do you see it?
I think you're quite right. Being rebuilt many cars myself, and as you well know. And there are globally, there are new parts, and there are plenty of pretty good, perfectly usable second-hand parts. Trick, of course, is to find these things, find them, and then to access them. There again, I think what has changed, and it's great, is the whole online scenario. Went back 15, 20 years ago when we were building cars in those days, you needed a part, short of going to the MG Club in the UK or the Cadillac Collectors Association in the United States. Does anyone know of a part? So the search was a lot more demanding. But now, you just have to Google a part. And we haven't even spoken about Google, but that's also a fascinating part of this whole landscape. Is that not everybody who's looking for a car comes directly to Gumtree. Some people will just Google a vehicle. Google will direct to Gumtree, knowing that we've got what the searcher is looking for. But I've noticed where technical information is concerned, it's incredible. I've got in my workshop here piles, rows of workshop manuals, which I treasure, but they've become obsolete because you can do any job on any vehicle, and you think, no, hang on, what is the torque setting for this, or how do I strip this component? And you just Google it, and before you know where you are, there's a YouTube video of some guy who's an enthusiast like all of us, and he's filmed himself stripping a particular oil pump, putting it together. It's unbelievable. It really is. The access to information has made car rebuilding a whole lot more exciting, a lot more accessible. And I think your point is quite right, that more and more people now will be using pre-owned parts because they can access them. They can find them. Couldn't find them 20 years ago.
Well, then maybe this is a good chance for those guys who are sitting with storerooms, or not storerooms, backyards covered in parts, to say, take the time and please go put your parts out on Gumtree so we can please go buy them. You know, you're not going to build the 15 cars that's sitting there. Let's start moving these things on.
That's right. These hoarders, these guys who hoard parts, and I've been one of them. If you're not going to use it, get rid of it and then convert it to cash. And that's just one of the drives that we've promoted. You know, we've had the odd TV promotions and adverts running where we'll say there's stuff lying around in everyone's home that you can convert to cash. Get rid of it. There's people out there who need it. You don't need it. You know.
Exactly. Right. I had a friend that had I think it was a '69 Buick Riviera, and his project sat for 2 years because he couldn't find a rear seat. I mean, he did the car originally, and he couldn't find the rear seat, and the Buick guys didn't like him, and he couldn't find one. US, South Africa, he struggled for almost 2 years to get a seat. The thing is, there's someone's other project standing there waiting for a part that you've got lying somewhere on the shelf that you probably never get to or completely forgot that you had. You know, that's the reality.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So your junk is someone else's gem, you know.
Yeah, junk. That is so true. That is absolutely so true. I mean, and in a time when I think I just my dad growing up and his workshops and even my workshops when I've sold on all this type of stuff. The amount of stuff that you're sitting with the whole time and no one's using it, you know, it's just piling dust. But thank you so much for your time. I'm gonna
look forward to any time, Joe. Great chatting. Thanks so much.
Awesome to see you again. Thanks a lot, man. All right.
All the best.
Thanks. Bye.